Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Football Showdown. If you haven't, please like, comment, share, subscribe. It'd be greatly appreciated. And let me know what you think about the topic of the video today. Let's get into Arsenal and West Ham. Let's start off with the controversial out-of-bounds call that happened. I personally don't believe that it was out of bounds, but I also can't 100% say whether that was in or out. Whatever the on-field decision was, I would have been happy to go with it if that was my team. If that was Liverpool and that happened to us, whatever the on-field call was, that's what I believe you have to go with. Because there's not indisputable evidence to say the ball's in or the ball's out. And that's why I think VAR went with the on-field decision. Because, I don't know what people wanted to do. Do you want VAR to be able to see through Jared Bowen? Like, if they don't have the technology, then that's Arsenal. Go to Arsenal. Ask them why they don't have enough cameras laid out. So that way VAR can go and look through and see all the different angles. This isn't a VAR issue. I'm one to criticize refs. Refs aren't perfect. These refs actually stink. Compared to American sports refs look so much better than these PGMOL refs because these guys are frauds. They suck. But I can't be biased. I can't always be like, well, they made another mistake even when they didn't, just to push an agenda. I see it. I say it how I see it. And this was one where I think they got it right. You can't 100% say the ball's in or the ball's out. So go with the on-field decision. And that's what they did. And Arsenal, I get it. You had a call that you feel like went against you. You have a call that you feel like you should have gotten in your favor. But you know what? You had to pull yourselves up and say, hey, you still got to go for this. Your fans can't leave in the 60th, 70th minute because they're like, oh my God, this sucks. The ref is terrible. Let's go home and give up on our team. That's embarrassing. I don't care what, unless the game is 6-7-0 like it was for Man United, then there's no excuse to leave. A 2-0 comeback is very plausible. It can happen. It's happened a lot over footballing history. So to leave and not support your team is crazy. Because there's the slightest bit of adversity against you guys, your fan base at the arena doesn't say words. They don't chant. They don't sing. They're just sitting there in silence, just waiting for something to happen. Your players need you in that moment. Your players need the support because they're probably feeling the pressure too. Because they might have been a little bit more relaxed, but then they feel their fans being anxious and nervous, not knowing what to do. And then they're like, oh crap, what? Well, if they're nervous, then that energy just passes on to the players. And I think that's why Arteta was yelling at the fans for when they sighed about Zinchenko making almost a bad pass to Jared Bowen earlier on in the game. Because he's like, guys, we need you behind these players. We can't have you oohing and ahhing and sighing to our own players when we need you the most, because we are down and we're at home for a reason, so that way the fans can get behind us. But let's now get into West Ham. West Ham had an unbelievable game plan. David Moyes back at it again. I said in the Carabao Cup that I'm not surprised why his job is being scrutinized and why he's on the hot seat. I take that back. Everything I said, I take that back because I didn't understand the circumstances. I didn't understand that they had players injured, that they were rotating to try and focus on the games that they had against Man United and Arsenal. And I get it because sometimes the board might have said, hey, Premier League is most important to us. Yes, Carabao Cup is nice, but honestly, we're playing Liverpool. We're probably not going to beat them anyway. Rotate, focus on the Premier League. So that's what they did, and they've come out with 6 points against two teams who are better than them. They shouldn't have beat Man United. On paper, I'm speaking. They shouldn't beat Man United, and they definitely shouldn't beat Arsenal. But they came out here, had an unbelievable game plan. David Moyes is a good manager. I get it didn't work out at Man United, but he was really good at Everton, and he's doing a really good job with West Ham. Not to go too much into it, but yeah, let's just leave it on that note. He's a good manager and had a good game plan today. I'll make another video about that, I guess, sometime if there's enough interest in it in David Moyes' career. But let's go back into their game plan against Arsenal. They had a low block. Edson Alvarez would drop in as extra center back, and then they had Thomas Suchek come in, and with all those big, tall players in the middle of the park, it's hard to be able to whip crosses and to be able to beat those guys on headers because Suchek's like 6'2" at least. He's probably even taller than that. Edson Alvarez is at least 6 foot. Ogbana, Jesus, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Ogbana. I don't know. I'm not going to keep pronouncing that, but he's tall. Who I forget, Mavropanos, I think is taller too. So I mean, to try and beat all those guys off headers is a tough task. They forced them to go into the middle of the park when needed, and they would force them to go out wide when they had the numbers in the middle of the box to invite crosses when needed. The West Ham attackers are unbelievable, man. They have probably one of the hardest jobs in the West Ham game plan because they have to take on 2, 3, 4 players to be able to break a press. And then not only after they break that, they have to dribble towards the goal, towards the other team's goal, to then hold off the ball, to wait for the other attackers to get in, and the midfielders. They have a lot of responsibilities. Jared Bowen and Mo Kudus were really, really good today. Give them lots and lots of credit. Not just the defense, but the offense because of how clinical they were going forward, creating their chances, scoring goals when needed. They were unbelievable, and they had probably the hardest job in the West Ham tactic today. Arsenal, let's go back into them. After you get scored on the first time, I get it. There's still, it was like, what, 16th, 17th minute? I'm actually looking at the highlights now. Yeah, 16th minute, it happened. And why are you so frantic? Why are you panicking in the 16th minute of the game? There should be no pressure. You should know, hey, we're going to come back and back ourselves to win this game. You should be able to not have to play 100% pedal to the metal the entire game. You should be able to, connect some passes, build up the play, bring out a couple of the defenders so that way you can create a little bit more chances with the crossing. Either whipping the ball into the air or whipping it down on the ground. Playing the through balls through. They didn't do that very often because they weren't drawing out the West Ham midfielders and defenders to attack them because they were playing in the West Ham's hands. I don't care what the possession stats are. I don't care what the shooting stats are. West Ham are never going to go into a game and say, hey, we're going to dominate possession or at least try to possess the ball and we're going to try and create a lot of shots. That's the complete opposite of their game plan. Their game plan is, hey, we're going to have 4, 5, 6 shots and we're going to hope that we can make 1 or 2 of those and then hold out for a draw. Hold out for a clean sheet. At worst, 1 goal. That's what they're hoping. They're never going to go into a game, hey, let's score 4, 5, 6 goals past someone like some of the other big teams do because they just don't have the quality for that. So those stats really don't matter. But back into Arsenal playing into West Ham's hands. You know that West Ham want to sit back and defend. How do you do that? You go and whip crosses. But, as I said before, all the biggest players are in the middle of the park. So, and they're in that 18, around that 6-yard box spot. How are you going to draw them out? By slowly building up play. Making them chase shadows around the box. You can't just play 100%, no through balls, and just hope, hey, cross. I get it. That is how you build. That's how you beat a low block, is by crossing. But eventually you have to say, look, us just crossing this ball in isn't working because we have Gabriel Jesus who can't head the ball to save his life. You have Martinelli. You have Saka out on the wide. And you have Martin Odegaard as your tallest player who doesn't go into the box for headers. So, you have to come up with another game plan. You have to be able to be like, all right, brains, let's work here. This isn't working. How else can we come up with something else? Slow the tempo down. Control the game. It's 1-0. Control the game. And then once it went 2-0, oh my God. It was crazy. The fans were radio silent because they were panicking. They were nervous. They're like, oh my God, we're going to be out of the title race if we don't win this game. And then that fueled the players. The players felt like that, oh crap, we have to hurry up and try and get these goals back because the fans don't trust us. We don't believe in ourselves now. So it was just a mess from the start to the end. Once that first goal went in, it kind of was just a mess. You knew Arsenal probably weren't going to get themselves a win. At best, they were going to get a draw. And an interesting stat, David Moyes had never beaten Arsenal away. They never beat him at Highbury. He never beat him at the Emirates until today. And it's just shocking because Arsenal are the better team. They should have come out with 3 points, but they played right into West Ham's hands. Arteta has to take some blame, and the players have to take some blame. I don't want to hear none of this about the refs, and the refs stink. They cost us a game. Because that's not indisputable. That's not indisputable evidence to say the ball's in or the ball's out. At a certain point, you have to get up and play. You have to be able to beat West Ham. And they just weren't at it today. So, that's all I got to say. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.